Preserving, recreating and shaping one of York's most historic buildings with 17th century ancient craftsmanship. That's the job of the stonemasons. Chisels and hammer in hand, they spend weeks chipping away at solid stone until all that's left is a piece of history that's been brought back to life.
What we're doing here is not just keeping York Minster alive as it was, but we're also very keen on keeping all the old techniques alive. So conservation isn't just thinking about the building, it's also thinking about handing over techniques, training up new people in older techniques. We really work meticulously to get all the details off the older existing stone on the building, and all that kind of work happens in the setting out shop where our master mason works to get templates like these ready so we can follow his lead and make the stone as close as humanly possible to the original. We put in all our skills but also our love.
The teams work on a 100-year rotation to make sure that each section of the Minster's historic fabric is repaired and protected.
For one, the Minster is a massive, massive building. We have a very steady team, but it tends to be a not very large team. And since we also train up people, not everybody working on it is fully qualified. What we tend to do is go round and round, and we sort of have the idea of a 100-year scaffold cycle. Means every 100 years we try and touch all the areas of the Minster. So what we're working on now, I'll never work on again in my lifetime.
And the craft is passed down through the centuries.
We really are a centre of excellence here for heritage craftsmanship, and all of the skills which we nurture here are on display today. So some of our members of staff have been here since they were apprentices at 15 and are now approaching retirement, and they're passing on all the skills and knowledge they've learnt and developed over those decades onto the next generation, who will care for this building into the middle part of this century, and then it'll be our turn to hand over those skills to the next generation. So each generation is leaving the building and estate in a slightly better way than we found it.
But it isn't all about the stone. One major historic restoration that took place in the Minster is still firmly planted in the minds of the workers and locals alike.
We've got the sections on the south transept fire. It's been highlighted a lot this year, obviously, because of Notre Dame. So it's quite a popular one for the tourists and people from York even. 4 years worth of replacing the vaulted ceiling and also the roofs above, which keeps it watertight. After the fire, there wasn't really much in the way of records of what to do. So it was a bit of reverse engineering, trying to work out how to put it all back.
As visitors seize the opportunity to go behind the scenes of the Stoneyard to see the ancient craft put into action, it looks like York's historic buildings are in safe hands for years to come. Abby Walker, That's TV.